Hello and welcome to this episode of the No Gimmicks Just Sweat podcast. First, thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you're listening. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram at No Gimmicks Just Sweat. No Gimmicks Just Sweat was started to showcase people from all walks of life sharing their particular fitness journeys. Everyone has a different story, and everyone has a different reason behind their journey. Hopefully these stories will not only inspire you, but also help you aspire to heights you've never thought possible. Again, thank you for listening, and now, let's get it started. Alright, welcome to a new episode of No Gimmicks Just Sweat. Today's guest is the one, the only, Shawanna White. Shawanna, how are you doing today?
I am doing great on this lovely 86-degree day.
Yes, it is a beautiful day outside. Lovely day. Spring weather. Summer's coming up. Hopefully a decent race season this year.
I know, for real. Hope so.
Yes.
Looking forward to coming to you. I'm looking forward to coming to you guys' neck of the woods for Peak Street this year.
All right. Cool. All right, before we get started, let's kind of go through a little icebreaker. It's just a couple of questions to kind of, get things started and let people to kind of get to know you a little bit better, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, morning runs or evening runs?
I personally, both. It depends because some days I run doubles, so I have to run in the morning and in the evening. So, yeah, both.
Doubles. We're going to talk about that, as we go on with the show. All right, run on the treadmill or run outside?
Outside all the time.
All right.
Have no patience for the treadmill.
Yeah, I hear you. Solo runs or group runs?
I actually enjoy both. Mm-hmm. But for workout days, mostly solo. For easy days, group runs.
Okay. Road runs or trail runs?
Road.
All right, what's your favorite race distance?
The marathon.
All right, what is your dream location to run? If you can run anywhere in the world, where would you love to go run?
Yes, I knew this question was coming. I actually have two spots, and the one I'm probably gonna butcher the name. But anywhere in Kenya, I would love to go to Kenya and run over there, the home of the champions, and also St. Maurice. I think I said that. I don't even know where that is, but I hear all the professional runners from the Bowerman Track Club. They always talk about that place, and they have pictures, and it's so pretty. I know it's somewhere in Europe.
Okay. Ooh. I have to look that place up. All right, last question. If you can go on a run with any celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be?
Now, when you say celebrity, is it a runner or like movie?
It can be a runner. It can be an athlete, entertainer, singer, just anyone famous.
Oh, I would love to go for a run with Des Linden.
Oh, okay, cool. And see, you never know. That could possibly happen.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
All right. So I always want to start out the show by getting to know the person. So what is your story? And I say your story because everybody has a story from where they began to where they are now. So let's hear your story.
It all started in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was born and raised. As a child, I used to love to go outside and play, and I enjoyed it so much that my grandmother literally had to rush me in the house every day. So when we used to play outside, we used to play all sorts of games, like from basketball, kickball, races where we race against each other. No set distance. We just run as far as we can, as fast as we can. And when I was in elementary school, I used to always compete in field day, and I was pretty successful at all the field days activities, especially the running events. And then when I was in middle school, my middle school PE teacher, actually after field day, he asked me to run track, and I told him, I basically told him no, because when I asked my grandmother, she said no. So, so I was like, okay, cannot run track. But then, fast forward, when I went to high school, the high school coach, he saw me in the office one day. Can't remember why I was in the office, but I was in the office for some reason. And, he asked me the same question about running track, and my high school coach, he he just said that I looked like a runner or something, so that's why he asked me. And then at that point, I remember from middle school that if I ask my grandmother, she's gonna tell me no. So I told the high school coach that he would have to ask her. And so he asked her, and she told him yes, as long as he would bring me home, because she wanted me to come straight home from school, because normally I catch the school bus, and that's how I would get home every day. And she didn't want me to be riding on the MATA, because that's the form of transportation in Atlanta. Because we didn't have a family car, so that's how we traveled. So, and she didn't want me to catch the bus on the school day. So she told him yes. He brought me home every day, and I had a really fun. I had a really fun time running in high school. During that time, not only did I compete track, eventually I ran cross country, because after my first season, my coach told me that I was going to run cross country, and I was asking some of my teammates, "What is that?" And they was like, "Well, that's where you run in the forest, and and you run 3 miles." And I'm like, "What? 3 miles?" Because the furthest I ran for high school track was a 3,200, and that was 8 laps. And I was like, "You telling me we're gonna have to run 4 more laps?" And they're like, "It's not laps. Like I said, we're running in forests, we're running on rocks and stuff." And I was like, "What?" This sounds kind of crazy. But actually it was pretty fun. Like, when I was in high school, I really had a love for cross country. And when I ran cross country, I actually won the city championship race. That's where all the public schools, because I went to Atlanta public school system, that's where all the schools, they compete for cross country, and then you have like a city champ. And I actually made it to state my senior year for cross country, which was really fun. And then high school track, I made it state twice in the 800, and I placed fifth in the 800 my senior year, because my junior year I didn't make it out of the prelims. And so my goal as a senior, I was like, I'm just gonna make it to the final, and if I can make it to the final, that's a win. So after that, eventually, college was next, and I had a lot of offers for scholarships. And at the time, I was really scared about going far away from home, so I chose West Georgia, because it was only a hour drive, I believe. So,
Yeah.
but going to college, I didn't know that you really didn't go home on a weekend. I thought that if you didn't have a race, that you would get to go home, but no, you train during the weekends. And I was like, I was like, this is crazy. I thought I was going to be going home on the weekends, and I didn't have meet. So I was like, wow, you know what? Maybe I could have went to another college. So, so I ran in college. Again, college was fun, just like high school. My school, we actually made it to nationals for cross country my senior year. Um, my greatest achievement from college was placing second in the conference meet. And West Georgia was a Division II school, if that means anything to your viewers. Um, and then after college, I actually took a break from running, because I was so burned out. Because, like I was saying earlier, we had to train on the weekends, and I did not understand that concept. I mean, I just thought that if you didn't have a race, then you get rest days. So after that,
Rest days? What's that?
I know. And so I took 4 years, for about 4 years off. And then when I first started teaching, well, when I was teaching at a charter school in Georgia, Dade Academy, um, at the time we didn't have sports for charter schools because we wasn't part of the public school system. So as a PE teacher and unofficial athletic director, my job was to try to find some outlets for sports. So I actually found this program called Loop Sports, and at the time they only had flag football and basketball, and they decided to have an exhibition track meet. And so I was like, oh, this is fun. So it was like a one-time deal thing. So I was like, so I put out a flyer. Some kids came out. I trained them. And then after the track meet, the kids were they were so excited about running. And I was like, I don't know how we're going to run because they don't have track in this league. And then one of the parents told me that, you can enter them in park and recs. And so I did that. And then basically starting a track team at Dade Academy basically lit the fire back in me to start back running. Like, I was so inspired by my student athletes that I was like, they are out here working hard, chasing their dreams. And I was like, you know what? I have some unfinished business in running that I need to, give it a go. Because, like, I remember on my college visit, you know, I didn't know any better. I told the coach that I wanted to go to the Olympics. I didn't have no idea what it takes to go to Olympics. But anyway, after, starting coaching the kids, I was just like, you know what? Let's just get back in shape and see if you can run 20 minutes for a 5K. And
Right.
so, with that, I started working towards that goal, and then in the process I was like, you know what, I'm tired of running by myself all the time. Like, I want to run with other people. So I started like Googling running clubs, and I came across the South DeKalb Striders. And I don't know if you've heard of that club, and I don't know, I think they still exist. I don't know, have you heard of that one?
I've never heard that one.
Yeah. So, yeah, South DeKalb Striders. I know at the time they used to meet at a mall. I can't remember what that mall was because so many years
Are,
ago.
are, are they still active now? Because I know in the Atlanta area there are like so many different running groups and running clubs.
I That is a good question. I want to say that they are because I know each year back in the day they used to have like a fellowship with the South Fulton Running Partners. Um
Right.
but I'm
I've
not
heard of
sure.
them.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. But I know in that club I met two young guys, Cliff DePass and John Davis. I don't know if you know either one of them because I don't think they're really running that much anymore. Um,
Okay.
but those two young guys, they took me under their wing, and we used to train together, and we used to run the McAfee Hill. I think that was near, I can't remember these malls. I think it was South Dakota Mall over in that area. It was like a big hill. We used to do that hill. And they told me, you know what? If you keep working hard and get your times down, then you can join the Atlanta Track Club. Cliff put it as the ladies in red. And I was like, okay, cool. I want to join the ladies in red. And so eventually I got my times down and I joined the Atlanta Track Club, which was really fun. And I met some of my best friends that I'm still in contact with today. And then after that, and during the time when I was part of the Atlanta Track Club, there was no elite team. It was just a competitive team, but you still had to run a certain time to be on that team. And during that time, it was more 5K focused, 10K focused. And so there was a group of girls. We eventually branched off with our coach, and we formed our own team, which was called the Atlanta Women Marathoners or something along that line. I just remember pink in our uniform, and I really like pink. And so we made that team because we were like more focused on the marathon. And so after that, that was my focus. I started focusing on the marathon. And the way I got the marathon bug in my system, I remember one weekend, I ran a series of races. One day I ran a 5K and a 10K and a mile all in one day. And then the following day, I ran a half marathon. And I ran a half marathon close to almost a PR at the time. And I was like, you know what? I should just try a marathon. And so I tried a marathon. My first marathon was not a success. It was a success. Well, you know what? I take that back. It was pretty successful because I Boston qualified, and at the time I didn't know what that meant. But
Wait. You said it wasn't a
no,
success, but then
that's why I say I take it back. It
yeah, I was like,
That's
wait,
why I
that's
take
a
it back. It
success if you
was
qualify.
a success in those terms because I didn't know what a Boston Marathon qualification was, because all I was thinking about, Eric, was breaking 3 hours. Like, I was so time oriented. Like, I didn't know. All I know is that I wanted to run this marathon and I wanted to break 3 hours. That's all. That's all I wanted to do, because my friends was telling me, based on my half marathon, they was like, you double that, add 10 minutes, and that's the time you should run for the marathon, which is not true. That does not work out. That will have you walking a mile in a race. At least that's what I did at Albany, because my first marathon was the Albany Sneakers Marathon in Albany, Georgia.
Okay.
So yeah, I pretty much walked the first. I walk, I don't, probably like at mile 16, and this lady gave me an orange and it brought me back to life. And so I was able to make it to the finish line. And then I remember
Okay.
after that race, I was just like, no more marathons. But eventually I'm down. I'm going to try this again. And so I tried it again. I broke 3 hours. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I want to try to get a OTQ, and that stands for Olympic Trials Qualifier in a marathon. And so that leads me here to today, where I have been chasing that goal for a very long time. And for the 2020 Olympic trials, I missed it by 20 seconds. So,
Oh
so I
wow.
want to go for it again in 2024. So I'm excited to hear
Oh yeah.
what those times are so I can know what I'm chasing. So I don't know. That was a long ramble.
No. That's good. A lot of information. And I do want to kind of step back, and I kind of want to ask you something. You know, I'm a child of the '80s, so my parents were very much, you know, you into the books,
Hmm.
you know, sports. I was not an athlete, so my parents knew, yeah, like my cousins and stuff. Yeah, he ain't going to school on a scholarship, on an athletic scholarship.
Uh-huh.
So, and it sounded like your grandmother was kind of the same way a little bit at first.
Yes.
That she wants you to be more focused on books and everything.
That's
How did she feel once she kind of saw how successful you were as a runner, and that you were going to eventually you were getting scholarship offers?
Erin, she was actually really excited. And like, back in those times, I was running the races, and like, say for example, I won the city championship. Like in the AJC newspaper, they would have like a clip and they would have a picture of me, and she would collect all those things. And to this day, I don't even know where those things are. Uh,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you still have them?
I don't know where they are, because like my grandmother, she passed away. So, and then eventually my family, they sold the family childhood house. So those things they are gone, unless I can contact the AJC and see if they can pull it up from the archives. I don't know, but
Yeah, I think they can, but they probably will charge you for
yeah.
it.
So I don't know. I think one day I may actually contact them, because I kind of want those those things, because it was pretty special.
Oh yes, definitely. And I also ask that because generally with cross country, it is something that black kids might not think about as an option for them. They'll think about track,
Hmm.
but not necessarily cross country.
Yeah.
And go
Oh,
ahead, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think I was so privileged to go to a school where my coach, he didn't just focus on sprints. Like, he tried to put all the runners in the best events for the athletes. And like, and especially for cross country, he enjoyed like coaching kids for cross country. And like, I went to Thurl High School, which is a all black high school, or African American high school. So I was pretty fortunate, because I don't think a lot of kids have that opportunity where they're actually exposed to cross country.
Right. And, you know, like even here where I live at locally, it's predominantly white. Um, I think I've seen over maybe the last 5 years. I'm thinking about when my daughter was in school, maybe one black on the cross country team.
Wow.
Now track team, yeah, no
Uh-huh.
problem. You know, but cross country, I think one I've seen in the 4 years she was in school.
Yeah, and see, for me, Eric, I didn't experience that until I went to college, where I was pretty much the only black girl on the team. Because, like I said, at my school, we were all black, and we were running cross country. I mean, and then, which was pretty amazing. I mean, and then after I left, the girls actually started getting better. I mean, at one point on my high school team, I wasn't part of that team, but I think he had like two girls that were running like low 20s for a 5K, and that's that's pretty
Yeah.
good. I mean,
Yes, that is good.
so like I didn't know this type of thing didn't exist until I went to college, and then after college, because I really thought that, that based on my experience at the time, that black people did run cross country and long distance. But as I got older and in college and past college, I saw that, no, they really don't, especially not at a competitive level. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's something that, I think that we're getting a little bit more exposure to it. People are starting to see that um, blacks are being successful as runners, that, you can go to school, you know, by
Mm-hmm.
running, not necessarily, track. It's an option. So you're not limited like, football, basketball, maybe baseball, and just track and field, but cross country is an option for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I think kids just need to know that, you can get a scholarship, you can get college paid for on cross country. I think kids need to be exposed and made aware of that. I don't think a lot of kids
Right.
know that, because partly it lies on a coach. If the coach is not telling the kids this information, they're not going to know. They're just going to assume that, no, you can't get a scholarship for running. Like, I had no idea that you can get a scholarship for running, but my coach told me that. And then I communicate that information to my grandmother, and that actually got her excited. She was like, wow. And then, at the time, if you did stay in state, you get the Hope Scholarship based on your GPA, and then you get a cross country scholarship, then you pay nothing. You go to school for free. So it's pretty
Right.
cool.
Yes. And that kind of leads into next question. To make sure I get this correct, you are the fifth or sixth, because I think that
Yes,
changed
I am
recently.
now the sixth fastest African American.
The
Yes,
sixth fastest African American born, U.S. born African American woman
that's correct.
marathoner, correct? Uh, so whenever I watch, the Boston Marathon or the New York City Marathon or any type of formal race, we always see that it's primarily African born athletes that are, taking top prizes at these races and stuff. And then you'll start seeing white athletes come in behind them. Where are the African American, Black American athletes, distance runners? So that, I think that's kind of a question people have been asking and looking at in recent years.
You said are you asking me where are they? Oh,
Yes. Why we don't see them more at that
I
level?
think for the same reason what we was discussing earlier is that they're not really pushed into those sports, and then distance running. If you like, you think about the black little girl here or black little boy here in America, our sports where you are successful are or football, basketball, baseball. That's where you make all the money. But like in countries like Africa, you make the most money by either being a distance runner or playing soccer. So I think
Right.
there's going to have to be like a culture shift in America to show that, that you can make money in distance running. And I mean, we do have some um, black boys who are not in the marathon yet, like Mariel Hall. She went to the Olympics
Yes.
in 2016 for the 10K. So we have
Mm-hmm.
people like her who eventually probably will go to the marathon and probably will be successful at it. And then we have the upcoming Peyton, Peyton Thomas, who just competed in the Olympic
Yes.
trials. I mean, she's young and very talented. So I won't be surprised in the next years to come that we'll see her at the top of these world majors, like coming in top 10. And I think just seeing yourself in it will encourage more people to give it a try, because you got to see yourself in it to be able to do it. And like, I know I'm not like at that level, but that's why one of the reasons that I run, because I want to show, little black boys and little black girls here that you too can run distance running and you too can excel at this sport on any level. And right now I'm trying to excel on a master's level. But, you know, that's why when I see little girls and little boys, I mean, at a race, I try to make sure I go up and talk to them and tell them good job, and continue to stay at it. And I mean, at one point I was coaching, and, that was my way to push kids into distance running. And maybe one day I will go back to coaching. Right now I'm being a little bit selfish, focusing on myself. But even though I'm focused on my own running, I'm still, when I see little boys and little girls, I'm still like encouraging them, because I think that's the key where we'll have more people being at the top at the world majors.
Yes. And nothing wrong with being a little bit selfish if that leads you to be successful and to be an inspiration for the
Yes.
younger generation. All right, so let's switch it up a little bit. So let's talk about training. So what does a week of training look like?
That is a good question. Well, for regardless of whether I'm training, now I started this new thing. I take a day off. I mean, for many, many years, I really didn't take any days off unless my body said take a day off. But now I have implemented where I just run 6 days a week. I take every Monday
Okay.
off. A typical week will consist of a hard session on Wednesday, and right now we're in this cycle where every other Wednesday is either a track session or a hill session. So today I did a hill circuit. And so if I don't have a race on Saturday, I'll typically do like a tempo or something at 5K effort. And that will consist of my long run for the week too. So that workout will be built into the long run. So yeah, so basically I have 2 hard sessions a week, and then the rest are just a bunch of easy mileage, easy running, sexy pace as I call it. And then
Yes, I've
also,
heard you use
yeah,
that
and
term
also
before, sexy base.
during the week I lift or do strength work 2 to 3 times a week, and then I try to do core work at least 4 days a week.
Okay, cool, cool. Um, do you, when you're running, do you base your running on distance or time? As far as, okay, I'm gonna run for an hour, and just whatever I do within that hour, that's what I do. Or my goal is to run 10 miles a day.
Well, it depends. In general, it's mostly based on mileage. But like, say for example, when I was training for my half marathon that I did enough, I had one workout where it was like run for 60 minutes, and then after that for 2 hours, do this, do that. So it just depends on the workout, but mostly for my daily miles, it's based on mileage, but sometimes for workouts, it can be based on time and not mileage.
Okay. Again, 2020 was a mess for everyone. It kind of threw everybody off track. Um, how did that affect you in terms of your training and your running?
Wait, Eric. Wow. Yeah. At first, honestly, I was in a little funk. Because I love to race. I just love to race every single weekend. Like one year I ran 72 races in a whole year. So the thought of, yeah, I know it's
72?
crazy.
Wow. Look, most I've done is 24 in 1 year. When I'm hearing 72, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
It's crazy, but it's crazy fun. So yeah, I was in a funk maybe the first 2 weeks, when all the races were shutting down. I was just like, oh, what am I going to do now? And then I started to remember, like, you know what, Shawanna, before there was races, I just really enjoyed like training and just working hard and just pushing my body to the limits. So um during that time I started to seek out different challenges, and so I came across the David Goggins, and after I did that challenge, I was just fired up and just ready to start training. And so after I finished the David Goggins challenge, which is 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Yes,
that was
yes.
really fun. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna train to try to see if I can run a fast mile, even if this race was canceled. I'm still gonna train, and it's gonna be fun because I never trained to run a fast mile before. I mean, well, post high school. So that was really fun. And so after that, I just continued to train and just started picking other different distances to train for, regardless of whether the race was going to happen. You know, I just started training and I started having fun. And, during that time, I mean, it was like I was a professional athlete because my school closed, and at that time they didn't have any format. So it was just like give the kids some assignments, and you basically just sleep, eat, run, repeat. That's all I did from like March to
Right.
August. So I was like, wow, this is just an opportunity to get in shape. After I got out of my little funk, I was like, I'm just gonna use this time to try to get in the best shape ever. And honestly, I think I am in the best shape ever. I haven't been able to demonstrate that fitness in a race yet, but I'm patiently waiting for that day because I'm pretty fit, but haven't been able to show it.
You're ready to go. We follow each other on social media, and you're like, what is it like? You're the lion that's waiting to be let go at the gate. That's just clawing at the gate,
Yeah.
ready to be released. And I can see that in you through your post that you're just
Yes.
ready to go. As soon as that first really good race comes up, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, let's do this. All right, so let's talk about
Okay.
shoes. So, what is your
Oh,
go-to running
it
shoe?
depends on the day, Eric. I have I have so many. Okay, so for my easy days and recovery days, um, I go between the Hoka Clifton and the Hoka Bondi. And then for my hard days, I used to be hardcore Rincon 1 or Rincon 2, but now the Mach
Mm-hmm.
4, oh my God, that shoe is the bomb. I don't know if you tried that shoe, Eric,
I
but
haven't
that
gotten my pair
shoe is
yet.
the best shoe
Look,
for fast running. I don't care if it's for hills, long runs, track day. Ah, I love that shoe. So that is my shoe that I use
nice.
for hard days, and for race days. Um, if I'm running the mile all the way to the half marathon, I'm going to use the Rocket X. And then for the marathon, I'm going to go with the Carbon X2.
Oh, see, yeah, Rocket X, that's my shoe right there. It took me one good solid run in it, and I was like, okay, that's my race day
Yes,
shoe.
that shoe is so good.
Yeah. So are you saying that the brand of shoe that you like right
Yes,
now is
I
Hoka?
yes I love Hoka, and I'm actually a Hoka flyer. I haven't announced it yet on social media, but I need to make that post to say that I am a flyer again. So yeah.
Yes. Likewise, we
Oh,
both are flyers
awesome.
again. But by the time this comes out, yeah, you'll have more than enough
Yeah.
time to release it on there. So yeah, they'll know. All right. So as a runner, it's finding balance and calm is something that we all kind of struggle with. How do you find that balance and calm as a runner?
That's a good question. The way I view running is as a gift. I mean, every single day that I'm able to run, I I'm literally is happy. I mean, it took me a long time to develop this mindset, but I mean, I'm just pretty chill and relaxed about running because I I'm just grateful to be able to run, because there's so many people out there who are unable to run or wish they can run. So
Yeah.
that pretty much keep me pretty balanced and calm when it comes to running. Now, I don't know if you mean balance in the sense of how I balance running with work or something, but that's the same thing when it comes to just balancing with work and just life in general. I feel like things that are important to you, you make time for it. So I love running, so I made time for it. And I appreciate running because it's a gift.
That that's a great answer right there. All right, this is kind of a twofold question here. Your proudest moment as a runner and your worst moment.
Oh, okay. Let's let's go with the worst first because I want to end on a positive note. Um, I think my worst moment, and that goes back to getting to the mind type of mindset that I have now, is basically back in the day. I remember this one race where I actually I didn't run a certain time, or I think I may have got beaten by a young child. I think that was, and I remember sitting in the middle of the road just crying and saying that I'm not gonna run. And pretty much every single time after I had a race that I didn't consider successful, or I didn't run a certain time, I will always cry. So I think those are my worst moments where I didn't just appreciate just being able to run. So I didn't like I don't like none of those. So those are my worst moments when it comes to running, when I used to cry after not having a unquote good race. Um One of my proudest moments, I think I honestly have two now. I think my first one that I always say is that after I had hip surgery, back in 2013, I ran this 5K. It's called the Purple Stride, and it's in Centennial Park, and it's for pancreatic cancer. And what was really special about that, because my grandmother, she passed away from pancreatic cancer, so I was really happy to be able, my first race back after hip surgery was basically for my grandmother, was in honor of my grandmother. So I was happy to be able to run for her and be able to raise money for the pancreatic cancer. And then my second proudest moment is becoming the becoming the first African American to run 14, but now it's 16. At the time when I broke the record, it was 13, and that record was held by Marilyn Bevins, who was the first African American female to break 3 hours in a marathon. So to hold that record for the most sub 3 hours marathon as an African American female born in the U.S. is pretty awesome.
Yes, yes, it is. All right. What is a non-running fact about you that most people do not know?
Good question. Let's see. I love running. Oh, most people wouldn't know that when I was in college, I actually made I submitted a video to be on American Next Top Model. Um, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow,
that's
I
when
did
Tyra
not know
Banks
that.
at the time she had the short edition. She called it petite for short models, but unfortunately, I still didn't meet that requirement. I still was too short, but I sent it anyway, and obviously they didn't select me because you didn't get to see me on television. So yeah, I wanted to be a model and I wanted to go on that show.
Is it? I love that question because I always find out something new about a person.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't know that. All right, all right. So, what is next for you? What are you training for now, or is there a race
That
you're getting ready for?
Eric, that really is a good question because at first I don't know if this race is going to happen, and through the grapevine, I'm hearing that it may be canceled. But I was hoping to run the USTF Masters Mile race in June, but I'm hearing that it's going to be canceled. So now I'm trying to break a age group record in the 5K here in South Carolina because I no longer live in Georgia. So I'm gonna try to break that record on what day it is? Sometime in May next month. Um, but before
Okay.
that, I am gonna run a half marathon in Arkansas, where I'm gonna try to win and maybe break a course record there. So we shall see.
So, translation: you're gonna
Yeah,
go there, win it, or break a record.
that's coming up real soon.
Yeah.
That's like that's like next weekend. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you got this. You got this. All right. So, if anybody wants to follow you or get in contact with you,
Oh,
what's
the
the
best
best way to
way
do this?
is Instagram. You can contact me at peachrunner26.2 on the gram.
On the gram. Shawanna,
Thank you,
thank you
Eric,
for being
for
on the
having
show.
me here. I had a great time.
Oh yes, awesome time. Always awesome talking to you. Um, I think we generally will, connect via social media, but
I
hopefully
know.
I'll be able to see you at a
I can't
race
believe it. We haven't even
somewhere
met in
down the
real
road.
life. I feel like I don't know. I feel like we met, but we haven't. That's so crazy.
I think we
Yeah, I
did a
had you on my
video
Instagram
call
live.
once.
That was one thing that I did during the pandemic. I started having the Instagram lives and started talking with runners for the fun of it. It was so much fun.
Yes. But yes, we've never formally met
Maybe
at a
I'll see you
race,
at
but hopefully
Peachtree.
this year we will. Peachtree,
Yeah, I
or I'm
am
not
going to
sure. Are
be at
you
the
going to be
race.
at the
I don't
race
know
this
the
year?
date, but I will be there. Yeah,
I'm
it
knocking on
should.
wood that it happens.
All right.
All right, Shawanna, thanks for being on the show.
Okay,
Best of luck
thank you.
to you
Same
in
to
all
you,
your
Eric.
endeavors.
Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye. And that's it for this episode of No Gimmicks, Just Sweat. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for your support, and until next time, keep crushing your goals.